Hi, now that we're in our second unit, I wanted to show you a little bit about where we've been and where we are. So, again, going to our navigation and our getting started materials, you might have missed it if you are quicker than I am, which is very likely. For some reason, there are two agendas here, and I think one of them is old, so I just noticed that. Sometimes I'm really bad at proofreading because I'm dyslexic and it's gotten a lot worse as I've gotten older. But I'm clicking here on the assignment checklist just to go over where we started on the 29th and to remind you a few things. When I say I want you to interact for extra credit in the first discussion, that means to read some of your classmates' posts and get to know them. And many of you have done a really wonderful job in that respect. And it's also part of the grading rubric that you need to reply to people and get to know people. That's a scientifically proven method of increasing or improving the learning environment. The second thing is I have not answered all the questions because some of them have been posted most recently, but I've answered most of them. So please just let me know by reading my response, and you can type something as simple as thanks or whatever, so I know that you went back and read my answer to your wonderful questions. Then we had mostly the quizzes that led up to our first exam. And the first exam will remain available because not everybody has taken winter term before, and it blindsides most of us. And for some of us, and this has happened to me before, you don't realize that it started in December. So we have had about 21 people, I think, have turned in the first paper, which is terrific. The rest of you can still do that. Please also, if you haven't yet, do the first two discussions and then do the participation interaction part of those first two discussions. And then I posted our first exam on the 6th. I said it's due on the 10th, but you can do it whenever you want to. Now we're in our second unit, and today we're beginning with John Stoltenberg's essay, Refusing to be a Man. I think you all will really like that. I think it's really beautiful and powerful, and I think the same of Black feminist Audre Lorde's essay, The Uses of the Erotic. All of these, although I call this a power and privilege unit, all of these are about sexual assault or sexual identity and wholeness and different kinds of intimate partner violence. So it's a really triggering and difficult module, but it's important. Please let me know if you're struggling with it, and we'll figure out a good way to move around that. Now, these things, the exam won't be until the 12th, but right before that, the lead up, the kind of culmination of thinking about what we have learned in the unit has an 8-point discussion, which, as you know, is probably more as valuable as the exam. So I just added today, because I also have attention deficit disorder, and I should have added it sooner, but I kept getting distracted, a 9-minute video to explain that last discussion of the unit that's not due till next week on the 11th, but it'll be here sooner than later. So if we look at that, let me jump out of the agenda. This is just a shot of the short video. I made the discussion available, so forgive me for having to scroll down, make you dizzy. The discussion is pretty complicated and extensive, but it's the first time I've ever done this, so please just try to hang in there and do the best you can with this last discussion. It starts with that video about the Chanel Miller case, includes her victim impact statement, which is pretty long. And down here I have a document in which I kind of explain all the things we're looking at, the people involved with the case. So you're going to read the victim impact statement. Actually, I need to update this because you should probably watch the video first so you know what's going on. And then in the discussion, I have assigned you to groups. And I know there's a lot of complicated instructions here, but you really can't go wrong because I am using this for the first time, and I will respond to you if you need to add anything to your discussion. I know it's a little tricky. The questions are part of the longer document. Like, what are we going to prove we know how to do after the whole unit by applying this particular case of Chanel Miller? We're learning how to have a feminist perspective and some problem solving strategies that if you are going to be a nurse, if you're going to be involved in criminal justice, and if you're just a conscientious human being like the two Swedish guys who are really the heroes of the case, these are important skills and things to know and understand. So I have assigned you to groups, and in your groups you have a couple of questions to answer, and I suggest places where you can focus to find your answers. But I also did a sample response that isn't showing up. Okay, so let me show my reply. So I kind of pretended I was a student here, and I should redo this in the student mode. But, you know, these are my answers to the questions from the initial post, and also some possible quiz questions. This will all make sense as we get toward the end of the unit, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that this is something we're working toward. I know this video is a little long. You can always contact me to ask me questions, and you can always catch up. So if you feel like you're behind, let me know. We'll make a plan. I'm super happy to see all of you, and I have really enjoyed reading all of your work so far. I know you'll learn a lot, and I hope you'll really continue to enjoy the class. Talk to you soon.